Being an effective manager and leader requires, at a minimum, the ability to motivate and inspire people and effective communication skills. Now, because often people are thrust into management and leadership positions with not a lot of warning, sometimes people are starting to feel like, oh my gosh, what do I do now that I'm not an individual contributor and all of a sudden I'm leading this team and I'm leading some people that I have actually been peers with for all of this time. If you find yourself thrust in that position, here are 5 things that you can do to hit the ground running as an effective manager and leader. The first is define who you are. Sometimes you're coming into a situation where people have no idea who you are, how long you've been at the organization, what your background is, and more importantly, why are you the leader at this moment? Talk about who you are, your background, your professional background, how long you've been in the organization, or how long you've been doing that kind of thing, and why you have acquired the skills that you have acquired. Talk a little bit about who you are as a communicator. I'm a person that loves to over-communicate, or I'm a person that's very few on words. And oh, by the way, if I'm not clear, I'm going to depend upon you to raise your hand and let me know, because otherwise I'm going to assume that you understood the directive, that you know exactly what we're doing and the direction that we're going in. So talk about how you like to communicate, because sometimes people are very few in words and they assume people understand them and people don't. And because you are wearing that leader title, they are sometimes intimidated to ask and to clarify what it is you might have said. So talk about how you like to communicate. You might also talk about how you like to give instructions. I am going to give you all the details and all you need to do is execute, or I'm actually going to give you the bullet points and I'm going to leave it to you as to how you execute. But really be clear with respect to who you are. When I'm starting in a leadership position, I say to my people the following: listen, I am a what you see, what you get kind of gal. You'll never have to wonder what I mean because I'm going to be explicit in that. I also give it to you straight, no chaser. I don't pretty it up. And guess what? I like to get it back from you straight, no chaser. You don't have to figure out how to make it in good political speak. You don't have to figure out how to say things to me. Just give it to me. And I will never shoot the messenger. I put that up front so that folks can understand what I expect, how I like to communicate. And then I say, this is what I consider my job to be, which is number 2, if you want to hit the ground running. Talk to the team about what your job is as their leader. For example, my job is to make sure that you have everything that you need in order to successfully do your job. Or my job is to make sure that I am giving you air cover. You are on my team. I protect my people. I expect you to give it to me straight, no chaser. And the truth, if something happens, if somebody accuses you of doing something they're outside of our group, I will defend until otherwise notified. But you might want to say, my job is to make sure you have what you need in order to be successful. And my job is to make sure that you are developed and that you are challenged. One of the other things that I like to say is I know that you will not always work for me, but I want to make sure that when you leave my team, you can say, wow, that might have been challenging, but I learned a lot. Or now, because I worked with Carla, I can go off and do these 3, 4, or 5 things. And then again, your team will understand that you are investing in them. The third thing that you want to do to hit the ground running is to make sure you define what success looks like. If you are working on a discrete project or you are working on something in particular, you say to the team, here is what success looks like. If you all do the following, we will have hit the cover of the ball and the ball out of the park. But it is your job as the leader and the manager to define what success looks like. The fourth thing that you want to do is put a timeline on it. If you want something in a week, 2 days, in a month, make sure that you are explicit about the time and make sure you are checking in with people before that time expires, however you have defined it. And the fifth thing that you can do to hit the ground running is to be liberal with the attaboys and the attagirls. I have found that there is nothing more inspiring from those who are working for a specific person than that person saying, good job, way to go. That's the way to do it. Attaboy, attagirl. And also being clear, upfront, and quick when they've made a mistake. Well, that wasn't quite right. That's not what I was looking for. Here's what you might want to do to correct that. That kind of guidance and that kind of praise motivates and inspires your team. Leader, manager, go get them.